Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this. And this is Game Complain on the 18th of the 4th, 2011. For those of you in America that refuse to use the best thing of, like 9/11. That wasn't 9/11, that was 11/9. Fuck you. But it is the 18th of April. That's the 4th month, isn't it? I better check. Yep, the 18th of April 2011. And this episode of Game Complain, for those of you who know Game Complain, you would know that it used to be a weekly increment, and I try to bring it back as a weekly increment, but because I am a fuckknuckle and I can't think of anything to talk about every week, I've decided that when I come up with a little bit of an idea in my head that I can talk about, I will do a Game Complain instead of having to bring out the cavalry and the camera and edit it and upload it and take half fucking an hour. So, what I want to talk about in this one, before we get into that, I know I say that's my catchphrase. I got like a few catchphrases here on YouTube. Of course, they would be, hello, ladies and gentlemen, au revoir, rate, comment, subscribe, have a good one. And now I have, I didn't realize how much I say it, but I always say we'll get into that later, and we never fucking do. So I'm going to try and stop saying that, but seriously, I kind of want like a Game Complain photo thing, like a logo thing, like maybe the size of a YouTube video. If somebody with photo that knows how to use Photoshop could do that, I would be very grateful. I wish I could send you something like a code to download or but I can't, so I don't expect anything. I'll credit you on the channel or whatever. And that goes for anyone else. If you want to make anything like a background or an intro video or anything like that, I'm open to it. I wish I could send stuff out, but because you're all probably from the States, it would be useless. But so if you want to do any of that, you're welcome to. I'm currently in the process of making. Someone told me to create my own toolbar. It looks like it's fucking out of the 1980s. It's horrible, so I might be working on that. But the point of this video, or this podcast thing, is to talk about faction systems. Now, this was brought up as I'm talking right here on Messenger to Marcus. He knows who he is. And now because I said to him that I feel like playing Fallout New Vegas again. And he's responded, now I have to play it, you bastard, there goes my night, which is actually pretty funny, and I will write back, lols. But in seriousness, it brought back how much I was looking forward. Now, I've talked about Fallout New Vegas like there's no tomorrow, but the thing that pissed me off so bad about Fallout New Vegas was the faction system. Now, faction systems for me suck. Suck. Dick. Now, I don't mean faction system as in like Bully or Saints Row, because technically they're not the faction systems that I'm trying to talk about. The faction systems I'm talking about is there's A and B, and if you do something for A, then that hurts your relationship with B, and vice versa, vice versa. And then you can pick to go down the route of A, or you can pick to go down the route of B. Now, that is essentially how it works in Fallout New Vegas. You can go down either path, alright? Now, I'll be using Fallout New Vegas for an example. I know that there's many other games that do this, but we'll stick with Fallout New Vegas. You can deviate from those paths and kind of... Now, I might spoil a little bit of the game here, but if you haven't played it by now, you probably never will. But technically, you cannot control the strip by yourself. And by the strip, I mean the Fallout New Vegas strip, which pissed me off because that's what I wanted to do, because the characters for the NCR and the Caesar's Legion are completely unlikable, and you don't want to help... I didn't want to help any of them. I didn't give a fuck. You know, I'm some poor bastard that got shot in the face. I've killed Benny. Why should I get involved in this shit? You know, the story for Fallout New Vegas even was horrible. You know, it was such a big disappointment after the amazing, like, Fallout 3 is, you know, as you guys have watched the video maybe, is in my top 10 games of all time. And I was really hoping, the fact that it was Fallout 3 in New Vegas really didn't, I didn't really care. But they stuffed up the story. They stuffed it. And the worst part, getting more back to the faction systems. Getting back to faction systems, what pisses me off is they try and lure you in with, oh, you can replay this 900 fucking times, and then when you play it 900 times, you get the same shit. And what I mean by that is, and in Fallout New Vegas, again, an example. When you pick what faction you want to go, say we're doing Caesar's Legion, or Caesar, or whatever you want to call him. We've gone down his route, alright? The problem is that you then have to go to these little subgroups that have gone off into their own territories and just, like, there's this one called the Boomers, and they reside at the airport, and if you go there, they shoot you with mortars. So they're in their own little world, and you have to convince them to join Caesar's Legion and fight with them to control the dam. And then the problem is that when you replay the game and say go with the NCR or anything else, then you have to go back to them and convince them to fight with you. It's the same fucking thing. All that's changed is the person saying do this. Same with Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 is another amazing game that I really, really, really liked. And the story, just the fact that you were in Africa and all these guns and you had buddies and it was fun, it was open world, it was amazing to me. I played through it like 3 or 4 times, but the story didn't change. You blew up a car that was owned by Faction B. And then Faction B got you to blow up a car owned by Faction A. And it just repeated like that, and it was bullshit. And same with New Vegas. If you're doing a faction system, game developers out there, and if you're listening, game developers, Peter Molyneux says, or the guy on Twitter that pretends to be Peter Molyneux says, don't allow ladders to flash, because we know they're climbable, and if they're not climbable, they shouldn't be there. So, with that said, this will make no sense whatsoever regarding that statement, but if you can't go down a different path with these motherfuckers, then don't put a faction system in the game. It sucks. It's terrible. It doesn't work. It does not encourage replayability. It doesn't encourage, to deviate from anything, because it's the same thing the second time through. And even the first time through, I didn't care. It's impossible to like these people. They're both fucking Hitleristic leaders that no one could ever like, that want to control the dam that I couldn't give a shit about. I'll get my ghoul mask, go down into the subway system, and somehow navigate myself to the Washington, D.C., where it was a little bit fun. Not saying that Fallout New Vegas isn't a good game. I thoroughly, really enjoyed Fallout New Vegas, but the story and the faction system fucking sucks. Sucks. It's... The faction systems, if ever done properly, I'll shit cotton. I really will. Because they don't work. If anything, they block you from maybe, up to 75 to 80% of the game's content, and then, most people don't really play games through twice. Who here has played through Mass Effect 2 twice? Who here has played through Dragon Age twice? All these Grand Theft Auto, Mafia, Saints Row, Call of Duty. Who has played through them twice? Not a lot of people. I personally have played through most of them twice. But that's because I'm a hardcore gamer. But if you do that, then you restrict the people that play it once to, 3/4 of your game, which is ridiculous. It sucks. It's terrible. Don't do it, game developers out there. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about, and I plan to make my own game where I am the ruler of a futuristic country, and it is your job to round up people that are undesirables, and before you call me a Naziist, we're going to put them in a small room, and we're going to throw a party. And there will be piñatas, cupcakes, muffins, meat pies, and something else that's not funny. But seriously, don't do faction systems. They suck. They really do. And I really can't think of a decent game where faction systems have been actually pretty fun. It's horrible. What game was it? There was one... it's like a fucking girlfriend simulator. If you don't spend time with bitch number 1, then she will like you less and less every day. Jesus. Faction systems suck. Sorry, they do. So, again, if you want to create anything such as an emblem or a logo or an intro video background, whatever you want to do, please send it to me. I'll be more than grateful. So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out. Have a good one. Subscribe. Au revoir.